All of our audience, this question: how many of you really like your voice? That's the question.
I don't.
You don't like it? What don't you like?
I just don't like it. When I heard it on tape, I was horrified.
Ah, that'll do it sometimes. You see, this is the thing we're talking about today. The question is that we've got the man who wrote the landmark book called Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. This is Dr. Mort Cooper. He says most of us are committing something called voice suicide.
Absolutely correct.
What is that?
You're talking down here, but you're talking up there. You don't have to talk either way, and you don't have to lose your voice.
And then when you hear it on tape, it's not so frightening. Stick around and listen. Thank you. We're talking about, we're going to do wonders for you. It's the power of the spoken word today. We're going to learn how to harness that. And speaking of wonderful audience, they're ready to find out just what it is about their tones, dulcet or not, that they want to change. You know, I want to ask you to think about the most memorable voices that you know, or maybe just what it is about the sound of the person you love in your life. Then think about these guys. There's Bill Clinton. There's George Bush. Two presidents, different parties. But guess what they had in common? Both were committing voice suicide. Now, they could be helped by this man who is known as the voice coach to the stars. He is a speech therapist and author of the best-selling book, Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. His latest book is also his own campaign. It's called Stop Committing Voice Suicide. Let's welcome Dr. Mort Cooper. Glad you're with us, Dr. Cooper.
Thank you very much.
Tell you, as soon as we met, you know, everybody wants to know now, wants to be judged about their voice.
Why not? we live in a sound society. If you don't have a sound, you're not heard, you're not liked, and you're not listened to.
Absolutely. You have very dulcet tones.
I used to talk like that.
How about Morton in the Bronx? I was reading about you.
Well, that's how I talk like that. This is Morty Cooper testing 1, 2, 3. I went to Brooklyn College here. And I heard myself play back on the tape machine. I thought I'd die. This
is like
Morty
the lady
Cooper.
In the audience said.
Yeah, this is my voice. I took the set right back to the secretary and told her the tape machine is broken. She looked me straight in the eye, recorded her voice on the new set, played it back, and she sounded nasal. She said, "You're right, Cooper. The tape machine is broken. That's not my voice."
Oh, no.
It's called shock therapy.
It sure will do it to you. So what did you do?
I had two well-intentioned college professors try to help me. And they took the voice from the nasal and put it all the way down here. So I used that voice for a while and got hoarse. I had difficulty talking. I couldn't be heard. I had early strangled voice. I couldn't get my voice out. My voice lasted for about 5 minutes a day. And I went to 12 doctors. Nobody could help me. Finally, I got into the field of self-help. So that's what I did.
So you were naturally nasal. Why did it matter so much to you to change your voice?
Well, if you talk nasal, do you like to talk nasal? There 50% of us talk nasal, thin and high, like that, and you hear yourself play back on a tape machine and you say, "No way." And then you talk all the way down here, you talk raspy and so forth. And these two types of problems can be helped. They can be changed for the better.
Works for Fran Drescher, though. You know,
yes, it's a money voice. It's a money voice. It's memorable. It works for Joan Rivers. I work with Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
It worked for Dennis Weaver, True Grit.
True, that's right. Name off a few. Well, I'm going to come to that in a minute. First of all, though, the point about what it is about the voice that is so impressionable. What does it do in the subconscious, or why is it?
It turns us on or off. It's like bad breath. If you have bad breath, it's a bad breath voice. And if you use a voice that doesn't get you heard, liked, and listened to, it just doesn't get you where you want to go. It affects your personality. It affects your career. If you say, when you answer the phone, say, "Hello, hello," who wants to listen to it? If you say, "Hello," who wants to listen to it? But if you say, "Hi, I'm Mort Cooper," and you're not, that gets you heard. That gets you heard, liked, and listened to. I challenge you to talk nasal.
Oh, I can do it.
You can do it?
I do have to work at it a little bit.
Yes, and if you answer the phone like that?
Ugh, it is. It's an automatic turn-off, isn't it?
And if you talk like Stallone? Oh, yeah. It wouldn't do very...
Well, now, see, here's the point, too. It's not so much the cadence or the words themselves. It is, what, the tonality?
The tone, it's the sound.
It's
the placement around the lips and nose where all good and great voices...
You call this the mask, yes?
Right. All good and great voices come from this area called the mask. It's a blend of oral and nasal resonance, and it extends from your eyes all the way down to your vocal cords. But it should be around the lips and nose called the mask area. And deep throat, 25% of us talk deep throat. We talk like this. We have hoarse voices. We clear our throats. We have difficulty being heard. People ask us to repeat ourselves. A voice gives out, it fades out, and so forth. That's voice suicide, and that's pathological. You can get nodes, polyps, contact ulcers, premalignancies. You can get cancer.
So we're pushing.
You're pushing.
Yes,
you're straining.
But now, Morty Cooper, the nasal guy,
right,
versus the Morty we're listening to now.
Right.
How conscious are you of the fact that you're dropping your voice, even now, after all these years?
Oh, I can realize that. How conscious would you be if you wore a shoe 3 sizes too small?
Yeah. Got it. Another irritating situation, yeah. So this is such an important thing, and of course, let me encourage our callers, 1-800-988-TALK. If you think you may be committing voice suicide, if you just know, like the lady in our audience said, that you could hear it on a tape, that'll usually do it too. Or you see it on video, and it's like, ew, is that how I sound? Why aren't we conscious of the way we sound often?
Because we don't hear ourselves as we are. We hear ourselves through the bones of our head, 3/1000ths of a second faster than we do from our mouth to our ear. And people hear us as we are, but we don't hear ourselves. So when we're playing a tape machine back, that's the way we actually sound. And you say, no, that's not my voice. That, let me tell the audience, is the moment of truth.
So true.
Yes.
How much does that hurt, too? Wow.
But it hurts us internally, it hurts us psychologically and emotionally because we feel put upon, we don't want to talk too much, we don't feel comfortable talking, and we become kind of backing off.
So voice suicide, again, as you said before, not only harms our nodes and the like, or it can create polyps and nodes, yes?
It creates tension in the lower throat, which affects the vocal cords, which makes it difficult to talk. And it creates tired voice, it creates nodes, polyps, contact ulcers. Those are growths from talking wrong, and it can go to premalignancies, vocal fold cancer, and it creates a condition that Shadow Stevens had called the strangled voice. I can't talk, and so forth. And you get that kind of condition, and it doesn't help you to be heard, liked, and listened to.
Understood.
Henry Fonda had that, and he went on to, the medical people told him it's hopeless. I report cures and recoveries of this condition.
Now, we think, though, that it's only because it's overuse of a voice, but not necessarily.
No, there is no such thing as overuse. It's misuse.
Misuse, not
If
overuse.
you use your voice and it's used effectively up in the mask, you can continue to talk on and on and on. But you have to get enough sleep and not compete with noise.
Enough sleep and not...
Compete with noise. If you compete with 90 to 100 dB noise, when the voice talks at about 60 or 70 dB or 50 dB, that's intensity level, as we're talking, or in some kind of noise. If it's too loud, forget it. You start squeezing from the lower throat.
Wow, and then there's the medication has an effect on all of this, too. I want to talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about those two guys we saw at first, Bill Clinton, George Bush. Now, you worked with Roger Ailes, who happened to start this network, who was one of Mr. Bush's advisors, and he helped Mr. Bush with his voice in that?
No, I didn't work with Roger Ailes, Roger Ailes is a fan of mine, he says, and he told George Bush to change his voice and bring it down. He used the F word, incidentally. Newsweek and Time reported. And I've been saying for years and years that George Bush has a real voice, he has a manly voice, and he used that in 1988 for the nomination speech.
Let's listen to him for a minute.
Let's take a listen.
Mr. Bush?
I'll tell you the 3 words that really separate my plan from what I think of the rest of them. It will work. Those 3. It will work.
Well, it will work. He sounds like it's just like an offbeat of Mr. Rogers. Is your mother home? Are you having a good time? It's too nasal. And when he used the voice that Roger Ailes wanted him to use, it was manly, it was full, and that's his real voice, but he doesn't use it.
But he doesn't use it.
No, he doesn't use it. I think that affected his chances of re-election because he just used a voice that really didn't get him heard, liked, and listened to.
It wasn't prudent. Remember that?
Yeah, well, it was called wimpy at one point.
At one point, that's true.
Yes,
yeah, it was his old line. Well, now, Mr. Clinton, who we know has problems with asthma and the like, and he's having nasal drip a lot, which can probably... Let's listen to Bill Clinton a moment.
We have in the United States still, even though we have very vigorous local governments and state governments, the federal workforce still has more employees per capita than does Germany, Japan, or Great Britain.
See, I like the president's voice, but it's more his cadence and his accent that I'm...
Squeezing from the lower throat.
And
that's
he's misusing.
He's misusing his voice. He's been misusing his voice for 20 years. He's been hoarse for 20 years. And it's not asthma that's causing his condition. I have bronchial asthma, but I don't have a voice problem. And it's not reflux, acid from the stomach going to the vocal cords that's causing this problem. It's not diet. They tell them not to have fries and burgers and, and chocolate and ice cream and all the things. It's positively un-American. The fact of the matter is he's talking wrong. He's talking from the lower throat, and he doesn't have to do that. He's got to become a hummer of a person.
Now this is, keep doing that, Mort Cooper. In a moment, Dr. Cooper's going to show us how to get up there and be a hummer, use the mask more. What all of this means, I'm going to ask him to analyze mine, some of their voices, your voice. Call it. Back in a moment. Dr. Mort Cooper is our guest today. Fascinating discussion, isn't it? We're talking about how to stop committing voice suicide. Whether you know you're doing it or not, you may be misusing your voice, misappropriating this wonderful capacity we have to sound better.
25% of the population does that. They're losing their voice physically, actually losing their voice.
Yes, and 25% of it.
25%. O.J. Simpson was one.
Well, now this is something. This was one of your clients 10 years ago, right?
That's right.
What, among other things, did he do wrong?
He was talking deep throat, like 25% of us do. He had growths on the vocal folds. His doctor, Harvey Paley of Beverly Hills, I'm in West Los Angeles, didn't want surgery. I helped him to change the voice with the buzzwords, the and the Cooper Instant voice press, and he put it, he said, it's phenomenally simple, and it works.
And it works.
And it works. The growths went away, he got a great voice, he went on to a great career.
As a movie actor.
Right.
Now, you know, those three things you flew by real quick, it doesn't tell if he tells the truth, but, well, that's another story. Anyway, I want to ask you about the best voices out there today.
I love Cheryl Ladd, I love Anne Bancroft. I love Mrs. Robinson. Remember that?
Yes, by all means, yeah.
And I love Richard Crenna and Shadow Stevens. I trained all four of them.
Richard Crenna?
Yeah.
Really?
Crenna was losing his voice. He was talking deep throat. Anne Bancroft was talking deep throat. And Shadow Stevens had the strangle voice, spasmodic dysphonia. And I helped him to get out of that. That's said to be hopeless. You can't get out of it. The medical people say there are no cures, and I report cures, and I do it year after year.
I understand. We're going to
so you put the voice up here.
Got to move it up there.
Yeah.
We're going to go to that. What about James Earl Jones?
Great voice, right up in the mask.
He's up in the mask. Okay, so that's what I wanted to know. Who
bass baritone puts his voice right up in the mask.
Lauren Bacall.
She put it in the lower throat, had voice problems, and has had repeated surgery.
Yeah.
You could put the voice in the lower throat, and it's deadly. You can put the voice in the mask and get the lows of your voice, but you can't put it in the lower throat.
Now let's talk about that hummer thing. What does that do to move it? Or hum, just the hum?
Become a hummer. Hum the first bar of Happy Birthday. Let's get the audience to do it. Everybody in the audience, I want you to hum the first bar of Happy Birthday like this. On the count of three, do it this way. 1, 2, 3. And you feel a buzz around your lips and nose. Can you feel it? That's where your voice should come from. People who are committing voice suicide, losing their voice, going hoarse, raspy, and being told it's due to acid from the stomach and that it's something outside of themselves. I don't find that true. You just have a voice lip. And try another one. Try this one. And you'll feel a buzz around your lips and nose, and that's where your voice should come from. Now try.
Yeah, but how do you consciously know that, Morton? As you're talking. I'm talking to you now.
Yeah, say Do you feel it?
Now I do.
Yes.
But I think because I'm
so when you're
about
talking to me, just say and you can practice all day long. Nobody knows you're doing it, and that's where you should place your voice.
So you mean I'm consciously then changing?
But you're there already.
I'm there already.
You're there already, and your voice is right on. And when you laugh, your voice is there. And when you say but a lot of people, 50%, talk up there. They sound like Melanie Griffith.
I was going to say, does her voice irritate you or what?
Oh, it drives me.
Drives you nuts, doesn't it?
But there's another voice, deep throat. Dr. Ruth, how does she do to you? Can you imagine Dr. Ruth with the long range? Come out of the west, come the hoofbeats of the head. It was sort of the long range eyes again. You like that one?
Oh boy, there is something real, like fingers on a chalkboard,
yes, but
right?
we remember great voices like, from out of the west come the hoofbeats of the great horse Silver, the Lone Ranger rides again. We love that. Think of this.
You're absolutely right.
Let's put it where it is, folks. The long range, maybe I will, maybe, what are you on? The long, from out of the west come the hoof, am I doing it right, Dr. Cooper?
I thought it off, but he can't.
Yeah, it's up there. He would never make it. He makes it as a character actor, but we're not character actors.
I got you. And we're going to come back and talk about the buzzwords and also the magic voice button, so we'll get right to that, but I want to hear from Elizabeth in California. Elizabeth, just tell us your name, please.
Elizabeth.
Go ahead, say a little more.
I'm from California.
Now we're going to see if Dr. Cooper can guess what you want to change.
What do you do, Elizabeth?
Currently I'm a student.
She's a student.
Can you say no like you mean no?
Me no.
Say no like you really mean no.
No.
That's your voice. Say it again.
No.
Now count 1 to 5 with that voice, Elizabeth.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Just change the voice.
It's much more pleasant.
That's right.
that
It's
voice.
deeper, it's fuller. Elizabeth,
Did you tell the difference, Elizabeth?
Actually, I have a cold, so it's kind of hard for me to do it anyway.
it won't make a difference. Lower the pitch of your voice. You're talking too high and too thin. And say no. Say no, Elizabeth.
No.
Say it louder.
No.
Do you feel the resonance coming around your lips and nose?
Yes, I do.
That's your real voice, in my opinion.
Wow.
So I just need to speak louder?
Louder and a little lower. Right. Say right.
Right.
No. Say, hi, Mort Cooper, with a louder, lower voice.
I'm Mort Cooper with a louder, lower voice.
I love that.
Oh,
Thank you
that's
very
cool.
much.
You got to work on these things. Let me try one more call. Thanks, Elizabeth. Susan's in Florida. Susan, would you say your name and where you're from?
Hi, my name is Susan from Florida.
Okay. Susan, you have the reverse problem. Susan, you're talking a little too deep throat from what I hear. I want you to say hello like I'm a little hard of hearing and talk above the noise. Say, hi, Mort Cooper.
I'm sorry.
I want you to talk above noise, Susan, like I'm a little hard of hearing. You're in a noisy cocktail party. I'm at the other end. You're going to say, hi, Mort Cooper.
Hi, Mort Cooper.
Good, that's better. Say it a little higher. Hi, Mort Cooper.
Hi, Mort Cooper.
There's your voice.
Nice. Like that.
You hear that?
I got it.
Yes,
I see.
that's-
There are so many techniques. I got to tell you.
She's too low. The other
She's
is too
high.
50% too high, too thin.
Keep the buzz going.
Up there. Get the buzz.
Remember this area
And the
here.
other thing is use your finger right here.
Your diaphragmatic breathing.
You take your finger right here
Mm-hmm.
and go, and your voice shoots out. There it is. It's
Do
a
that.
backup technique. Yeah, it's a backup technique. Everybody, can we get the audience to
Let's
do
do
it?
that as we go out and thank Dr. Cooper. What a wonderful first lesson in trying to stop our voices from doing all the wrong things. Wonderful meeting you. Stop
you.
Committing Voice Suicide is the newest book. Thank you, Dr. Cooper.
Thank
Let's
you
do that
very much.
going out. A little
Try
exercise,
this.
audience.